Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Welcome to the Becoming You show. I am your host, Leah Rowling, and this is episode 4 of our June series, the finale of the truth about relationships. And I want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for being with this work for 4 weeks. Thank you for doing the, I'll just call it unsexy interior work that doesn't get celebrated, that doesn't get seen, that doesn't get applauded, and most of the time does not get noticed by anyone else in your life except by you, right? And of course, by the people that you get to be in a room with, the version of you that's on the other side of this work. So that is leadership, that is becoming, that is the work that ripples into every single relationship that you have, every conversation, every room that you walk into. So thank you for choosing yourself for these 4 weeks, wherever you are. I'm with you in this final piece of this. And I'm going to start with a question, right? I want to ask you this today. It is going to be the hardest question of the series. And it is this. I want you to think of someone in your life right now who feels distant, maybe unavailable, maybe who's pulled back, who's no longer maybe showing up the way they used to, right? Maybe who's on the other side of a wall. You have them? Okay. Now I want you to ask yourself slowly and honestly, where did I stop showing up? Where did I stop showing up? That is the question that we will come back to. Okay. Now, not always were you the first to go. Sometimes the other person genuinely went silent first, right? Sometimes someone abandoned the relationship and you did what exactly a healthy person would do, right? You step back to protect yourself. That happens. That is real. But more often than we want to admit, the stonewall is mutual, okay? We pulled back to protect ourselves. We stopped reaching out. We stopped initiating. We went cold. We built a wall. And then we accused them of building it. And so today is the hardest episode of the entire series, but it is the most freeing, okay? We're going to talk about boundaries, what they are actually versus what people have been miscalling boundaries. We're going to talk about dependency, right? With the pattern of hosting your emotional life on someone else's mood. We're going to talk about the one almost nobody sees in themselves. And that's what I'm going to call self-stonewalling for the purposes of this conversation. And in that self-stonewalling conversation, it's a wall that you've built that you're still blaming the other person for, right? And then I'm going to bring you to the question, another question that has probably changed more relationships in my coaching practice than any other single question, okay? I want you to meet this conversation with grace and openness and give it 24 hours before you push back. That's all I'm going to ask. I honor your courage to be here in this conversation. This is not easy work. There's no growth in ease. Like this is the hard conversations. I say in my opener, I ask the questions most people dodge, okay? You're here. You're here for them, so thank you. So, a boundary, what is it? Okay? A boundary is an action you take. That's the whole definition. It's a boundary you take, right? A boundary is something you do for you to take care of yourself. It is not something that you require another person to do. It is not a threat. It is not a warning. It's not a demand. And it's also not always something that they even have to know about. So here are some boundaries, okay? If someone is smoking in this room, I will leave. That's a boundary. If someone is yelling in this conversation, I will leave. I will end it. Boundary. If gossip starts in this chat, I will remove myself from it. Boundary. If I'm asked to do work that violates my values, I will decline. Boundary. If I notice that I am drained after having particular interactions with particular people, I will spend less time in it. Boundary. Right? I want you to notice what these all have in common. They are all things that I do, okay, not things that they have to do. The boundary protects me. It does not control them. So this is what boundaries are not. And we get these confused, and when we do, we think we're not doing them right. Okay. If you don't text me back, you know, I will I will withdraw communication with you. That's not a boundary, that's a transaction, right? If you don't remember my birthday and get me what I want for it, like I asked you to, I will give you the silent treatment. Not a boundary, it's a rule. It's a rule, it's a manual, right, that you have with the penalty clause, should they not follow it. Okay, if you do not agree with me, I will cut you out of my life. If you don't agree with my religious beliefs, my political beliefs, if you don't believe in the goals and the ambitions that I have for my life, if you do not agree with me in some way, shape, or form, I'll cut you out of my life. That's not a boundary, that's an ultimatum, right? If you don't quit your hobby, right, I won't spend time with you. Not a boundary. Because these are all coaching boundaries that I've coached on probably in the last 2-3 months. Okay. A boundary protects you. Okay. An ultimatum tries to control them. The difference is everything. Is this boundary in protection of me, or is this what I'm going to call a boundary in order to enforce someone else's behavior? That's the difference. Okay. A real boundary requires nothing from the other person. They get to do what they do. You get to take care of you, right? The ultimatum requires the other person to comply, right? They get to choose, right, between behaving the way that you want and or losing access to you. Not the same thing. And the relational pain that's caused by miscalling one the other is incredibly enormous, right? The boundary in itself for you is not the hard part, right? The boundary for me to share with you, should you yell at me, I'll walk away. That's not hard. The hard part is sitting in discomfort on the other side of that boundary, having them be disappointed in me for not staying to be yelled at. The boundary is the easy part. The discomfort comes in the disappointment that we might cause in setting it. That's the real work. The real work isn't having the boundary. It's knowing what a boundary is and what it isn't. And then it's holding yourself accountable to the boundary regardless of how anyone else will feel, and navigating your feelings about how they feel, right? And allowing them to feel whatever it is that they want to feel on the other side of your boundary. That's the real work. And I want you to also understand that you can have boundaries, clear, embodied, enforced, and never threaten anything. You do not have to lose your mind to have one. You do not have to be upset. You do not have to yell. You do not have to scream, right? You don't even have to announce your boundaries. You just live them. If gossip starts, you leave. You don't have to give a whole speech about it first around why you have a no gossip tolerance policy. No, you just leave. You just exit the group. Okay? If yelling starts, you end the conversation. You do not have to issue a warning, right? Before every conversation. Hey, if this gets out of hand, if you start raising your voice, I'm gonna leave. Not required, right? If someone treats you in a way that you will not tolerate, you take the action, right? A lecture is not required. You take the action. Okay? People who run threats and call them boundaries are usually trying to change the other person's behavior. That does not work. It's just going to make you more furious, more frustrated, more annoyed. It's going to create unnecessary suffering. Okay? And it's going to create distance and disconnection between you and the person. Okay? That's not what we want. That's the whole conversation this whole month is around relationships. Okay? So people with boundaries, actual boundaries, real boundaries, the boundaries that we're going to talk about, and we've talked about, are usually trying to take care of themselves. Okay. And let the other person do whatever it is that they're going to do. You can do whatever it is that you want. This is what I'm going to do, should you decide to do that. Different orientations. Okay. And they also produce different relationships. So I want to talk about dependency. Okay. Dependency in relationships look like this. Okay. It looks like my emotional state is dependent upon what they did, what they said, what they didn't do, what they didn't say. Their mood determines mine. Their attention determines my worth. Their distance determines my peace. Their text back time, okay, determines my whole entire afternoon. Their inclusion of me determines my belonging, right? Their tone of voice determines how I sleep. Okay? Listen, you are an adult human, and I love you. You need to hear me say this. You are an adult human with your own brain. You get to decide how you feel, not them, not their behavior, not their text response time, not their attendance to the thing, right? To you, to anything, not whether or not they liked your post. You, okay? You are an adult. We could make that excuse when we were not adults. When you were young, that 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 negotiation of emotional wherewithal that was available. It's not available now. You're an adult. You have your own brain. You know now different. You can show up different. And I know you guys. I know that sounds simplistic, like it just minimizes real pain. It does not. Okay, the pain is real. The point is source, right? Source. The source of your emotional experience is you, is your thinking, not their behavior. Reclaiming that is not denial of the pain. It's sovereignty, and it's actually where it lands, and it's actually how and how it can become shifted. So I want to be careful here, okay, on a couple of things. We're not talking about abuse. We're we're not talking about like real harm, right? By way of abuse, physical, emotional, right? We're talking we're not talking about situations that make you unsafe. We're talking about the everyday dependency patterns that show up in functional relationships. That's the work that I do. Okay. The way you check their text response time and decide, right? One, their feelings about you from it, and then determine your feelings about it. The way that you read their tone of voice and decide your day from it. The way you let their busy week become evidence that you don't matter, right? The way that you assume ill will and respond in kind. That is dependency. And dependency is sneaky. It really is, because it dresses up as caring deeply, right? I get this all the time on the other side of my Zoom. I just care, Leah. I just care so much about this person. And of course, Leah, their moods affect me. No, bogus. I'm out on that. It doesn't. Nope. Caring deeply is about love. Dependency is about source. Those are completely different things. You can love someone with your whole life and not host your emotional well being on what they do or don't do. Okay. Here's where dependency costs you. And I'm bringing forward the costs because we still want to depend on other people's well-being for ours. No, I won't let you. I won't coach you into that, and my effort is to coach you out of that. So here are the costs. One, your inner life becomes unstable. It just does, because someone else's variability runs your day. Runs your day, ruins your day, is the best part about your day. You're allowing someone else to dictate the variability of your own experience in your life. That's crap. It's just crap. I don't want that for you. Okay. Two, the relationship gets harder, right? Not easier, because the other person can feel, right, that they are now responsible for your own emotional regulation. And this is what they will do as humans. This is what you do for the humans that you believe rely on your emotional state. Okay. We overperform, we underperform, or we pull away. So notice where you're overperforming in order to accommodate someone else's discomfort. Notice where you're underperforming because it's exhausting and or just pulling away. And then I want you, with massive courage, to think about the relationships in your life and notice where other people are overperforming for your comfort, where people are underperforming for your comfort, or they're pulling away for their comfort, right? And the last place that this costs us is yourself, right? You lose, right, your own voice because you've been so busy navigating their voice, trying to manipulate, trying to like steady and walk on eggshells and placate and please, them, they have no idea how to do that for yourself. Okay. The same work this whole series has been about. Always. It's probably what every episode is about. It's coming back home to yourself as truth, coming back to yourself as the source for everything, the source that you've always been for everything. The source of your feelings, the source of your behavior, the source of your results, the source of your outcome, the source of your future. Okay? And none of this is because connection doesn't matter. It's because it does. Connection is everything. But connection is healthier when you are not asking it to be your foundation. Connecting with yourself first has to be foundation. It just has to. Okay? And that leads me to this next piece that I want to throw in here because it's important, probably a whole podcast, but I'm going to tease it out and just get your feedback. I've done it myself. And because I have, I'm calling it self-stonewalling. Okay, so here's how it goes. Okay, and this is how it goes for me too. You feel hurt, you go quiet, you stop reaching out, you stop showing up, you stop initiating, you go cold, you build a wall. And then, and this is the part, okay, you accuse the other person of stonewalling you when you also were the one that went silent. Okay, we do this with parents, we do this with partners, we do this with friends, we do this with kids, we do this with siblings. We pull back to protect ourselves and then experience the resulting distance as evidence that they don't care, right? That they're stonewalling us, okay? We participated in the construction of that wall, my friends, okay? We did. Owning that is huge, it's everything. Not owning it looks like us just pointing fingers as if it was built solely by them. So if you have someone in your life, right, that you have been telling yourself is distant, comes back to the very first question that we started with. I want you to ask the question, where did I stop showing up? Where did I pull back? Where did I close the door and then accuse them of not knocking? Okay? And again, not always, okay? Are you the one that did it first? Okay? Sometimes the other person did go first and then you reacted, and sometimes someone genuinely abandoned the relationship. It happens. But more often than most of us want to admit, the stonewall is mutual. I don't care who started it. Does it matter? Right? Does it really matter? What matters is how you meet the wall, not whether you participated or they participated in building it first. Okay? When we do that, when the stonewall is mutual, right? And we hold them fully responsible for the half we built, we lose an opportunity to grow. We lose an opportunity to connect. Even if it's not with that other person, it's to connect with the truth of who we are instead of blaming our participation in the build on them. Okay? This is massive awareness because here's the thing. If the half you built is yours to own, it's also yours to take down, right? You can't dismantle their half. You can only dismantle yours. And if you take down your half, okay, one of three things will happen. One, they will have permission to take down theirs. Somebody has to initiate a level of maturity here. Why not you? Why not you? Well, they should do it first. They started it first. None of that nonsense. None of it. None of it. I won't have it. I won't have it. Take yours down, see what happens. Sometimes they'll take theirs down, and a beautiful connection can be reborn. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. Estranged sons, estranged parents. Somebody has to be the adult. Somebody has to bring the conversation to the door. Somebody has to take down the wall. Let it be you. Let it be you. Number two that can happen. They don't take theirs down. They don't. They keep it up. Okay? If that happens, you at least know what is actually happening instead of accusing them of what you were doing. You know your place with them. Now, instead of being in this miserable land of maybe. Well, maybe they'll come around, maybe they'll say they're sorry, maybe they'll take down the wall, maybe they'll do this. No, we're not waiting for a maybe sometime they will do something. That's outsourcing. That was last episode. Decide today we're taking it down. We're just going to see where the cards play. Maybe they'll come back and maybe we can reunite in a beautiful, connected way, in the way that we were always supposed to happen. Okay. Maybe they won't. That was also supposed to happen. Okay. But at least now you can grieve cleanly because you're clear on what's true. You're not lying to yourself about what's actually happening. Or three, you discovered the relationship was over a really long time ago and the wall was the last remaining structure, right? And now you can do the work for yourself. Okay. All three of those, friends, are way better, way better than carrying a wall that you built, you participated in the build, right? And then resented the other person for all of it. Okay. Again, this work requires massive maturity, massive levels of consciousness, but you're here listening to this podcast. So I believe that you are ready for it. Okay. So the last question that I want to bring to you, the one that I offered up at the very beginning that has changed more relationships in my coaching practice than any other single question, okay, is the question of the mirror, okay? And that is this: am I doing to me what I'm accusing them of doing to me? Right? This requires such courage, okay? Am I accusing someone of not seeing me? Then the question is, am I seeing myself? Okay? If you're accusing someone of not appreciating you, honestly, are you appreciating yourself? Are you accusing someone of not making time for you? Okay? Are you making time for you? Are you accusing someone of being unkind to you? Are you being unkind to you? Right? Are you accusing someone of withholding love from you? Are you withholding love for you? Are you accusing someone of not choosing you? Are you choosing you? Are you accusing someone of being distant? Are you being distant from you? Right? Are you accusing someone of putting other things ahead of you? Okay. Are you putting other things ahead of you? There is a mirror in what you want from other people, right? I talk about this in a lot of my podcasts around self-care, right? Some people say self-care is selfish. I say self-care isn't. You know what I think is selfish? What I think is selfish is making other people take care of you so you don't have to. That's what I think is selfish. And all of these are opportunities for you to take care of yourself. And here's what happens when you do. You don't need other people to take care of you. Should they do that? It's just a bonus. It's just a bonus. And then you can love them purely without needing them, without sourcing them, without wanting, desiring them to be any different for you. When you learn how to take care of yourself, you do not need anybody to be different because you realize that you're the source of care. Okay? Almost every relational pain that I coach around has a mirror, If you want somebody to be excited and appreciative and celebratory of what you're doing, okay? The mirror is, are you being appreciative and celebratory of what it is that you're doing? That has to be the work. Because no one in this particular, and we can go back and dig into every single one of these, nobody's appreciation of me is going to be enough that allows my own self-appreciation to move the needle. If I'm waiting for somebody to acknowledge, to appreciate, to validate me in order for me to get to the next level of my life, it will always be insufficient because I was always the one that needed to be that one for me. Always the one, right? So most of us are doing to ourselves the very thing that we're accusing the other person of doing. And then we're expecting them to give us what we are refusing to give ourselves, right? You're mad at your partner for not making you feel chosen. Meanwhile, you have been choosing your to-do list, the kids, the work, the house, everything else over your own needs for years. You are mad at your parents for not seeing you. Meanwhile, right? You've been refusing to see yourself, to acknowledge your accomplishments, to take pride in who you've become, right? What you have built, what you have endured, okay? You're mad at your kids for not appreciating you. Meanwhile, you do not appreciate yourself, right? Out loud, in writing on purpose. So when I ask my clients this question, and I ask it often, there's almost always a pause and a silence, and sometimes tears. A lot of times tears, because the recognition is immediate. Oh, oh, I see it. I've been demanding from them what I have been refusing to give myself. The relationship, I want you to hear me. If you don't hear anything else that I say, I want you to hear me say this. The relationship will not change. No relationship, not any, will not change unless you change the relationship with you. That's the whole series, one sentence. That is why we have spent 4 weeks doing the inside work, right? The neutrality of others, the rules that you inherited, the outsourcing you, okay? And now the mirror. The whole series turns on this one question because every relationship you're in your life is being shaped right now by how you are relating to yourself. Change the relationship with you, the other relationships start to change as well, right? So, before we close, real quick, a note on unconditional love, okay? Because I want to give you something to take into the rest of your life. Loving someone unconditionally does not mean tolerating harm. It does not mean staying. It does not mean access. It does not mean overlooking what they did, okay? It does not mean letting them back in. It does not mean pretending that they are someone they are not. It does not mean continuing the relationship at any cost. What it means is this, that I get to keep loving you in my heart no matter what you do. And I get to have boundaries and I get to walk away and I get to never speak to you again. And the love is still mine to keep because love is what I'm experiencing inside me. It belongs to me. It always did. When you withdraw your love, what you are actually doing is depriving yourself of the experience of love. Okay? They do not feel it in the way that you imagine. You do. Love withheld hurts you, the person withholding it, not the person that it's being withheld from. Okay? You can love someone fully and walk away. You can love someone fully and have firm boundaries. You can love someone fully and never see them again. The love stays. It was always yours. So the work for this week is 3 questions. Pick the person you have been working with right through this series. Pick a new one. It does not matter. Question 1, what is one real boundary I can hold in action that I can take for me, right? That I have been confusing for an ultimatum that I've been demanding from them. That's question 1. Question 2, where am I currently hosting my emotional life on this person's behavior? Where am I dependent on this person to be different, to say the things, to do the things, to be the things? Where am I dependent on them? And what does that look like to bring it home to me? And then the third one is the mirror one, right? Am I doing to me what I'm accusing them of doing to me most times? Friends, 99% of the time, the answer is yes. You wouldn't see it in them to not do if you were not desperate for it. You would not see them not doing the very thing that you're depriving yourself of if you weren't depriving yourself of it. You wouldn't need it. I promise you this is true. You would not need it from them. And if they did it, it would just be like, oh, that's so nice. Not, well, I've been waiting for that. You've not been waiting for that. You've been waiting for you, right? You've been waiting for you. So I want to thank you truly for spending these weeks with me, for sitting with the hard parts, for being willing to consider even hopefully 24 hours, right, at a time that I could be right about some of this, right? And for whatever, and for in whatever way it's not right for you, that's okay too. Okay. This work stings a bit, but the person on the other side of this work is freer. There's more agency, there's more sovereignty. You become more capable of love, right? More able to hold themselves and others with truth and grace at the same time, right? So keep going. Keep going. You are 100% lovable. They are 100% lovable, right? The work is always love. It always has been love. And if this series meant something to you, would you please share it? Right? Can you send the whole thing to someone? Screenshot, tag, post, tell someone what landed. Tell me what landed. Tell me where you're confused. Tell me where you're just in denial about any of these concepts, right? And if you want more, if you want to explore more, join us in Inner Lab, right? This is where this work is the daily practice. So if you've been listening across these 4 weeks thinking this is the work that I want to be doing inside my actual life every day, and you're not in the lab with us, join us. Join us in the lab. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for being here. I love all of you. See you next week. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.